Hello, welcome everyone. As always, I welcome you all to the aftermarket analysis session. This is the aftermarket analysis session for the Indian markets Nifty and Bank Nifty, where after the market closes, we look at where the buyers came in, where the sellers were active, where buying activity took place, where and how selling activity happened, and basically, we try to read the footprint properly. So if you are new and want to learn order flow, want to learn how to read the footprint properly, you can join the daily live webinar at 5 p.m. in the evening. You will get the link to this webinar on GoCharting's Discord and Telegram community before 5 p.m. in the evening. Secondly, if you are using GoCharting at that particular time, then by going to the notifications in the top right corner, you can click on the link there and access it. Okay, in any case, if you are not able to join this webinar, then the recording of this webinar is uploaded on GoCharting's YouTube channel. Okay, you can watch the video from there as well. So, before we read the Nifty footprint properly, let's first look at the volume profile analysis of the last 2 or 3 days to see what was happening and where. Okay, first of all, what confirmation did yesterday's volume profile give? That there is a volume profile node here. Okay. Second, what was the confirmation from the previous day's volume profile? That there is a node on the lower side. Okay, and we had also marked this on the upper side. Okay, there is a node here as well. This was a big node, so we divided this big node into two parts. Alright, today's node was this one, the previous day's node was this one, and this was a swing high, so we had just marked these levels. Okay, now the confirmation from the volume profile is done. Now let's see how, where, and what kind of confirmation the order flow gave us today. On these same simple levels, today's volume profile level, the previous day's volume profile levels, and the swing high and swing low. Alright, before reading the footprint, you all should know what delta is, because with the help of delta, we are going to read the footprint here. Okay, now let's see how this delta is formed. Like this is the first candle, okay, and these are the footprints of the first candle that we have, meaning where and how much buying and selling happened in the first candle. On the right side, we have buyers, and on the left side, we have sellers. We are adding up all the buyers on the right side. Alright, let's say the buyers on the right side have come. To understand this, let's take any value, say 1 lakh, okay. Plus means these are buyers, and on the left side, we have sellers. Okay, when we add up all the sellers on the left side, let's say their value comes to 1,12,000, 1,12,000, okay. This negative sign means sellers. Now, if I subtract these two, what value do we get? 12,000. Who is more? Sellers, so we'll denote it with a negative sign. Similarly, here also this value has come out. Now, since sellers are more, there's a negative sign in front of the value, so we call this negative delta. Negative delta simply means sellers. Now let's pick the next candle. What happened in this candle? How? What exactly? The value of the previous candle is inside the red box and there's also a negative sign. Okay, so that means we are talking about sellers here. It's inside the green box and there is no negative sign in front of the value, so that means this is a positive delta, and positive delta means that in this candle, there are particularly more buyers compared to sellers. Right, just like in the previous calculation, there were more sellers. Similarly, in this calculation, there are more buyers. How many more buyers are there? How many more buyers? Around 1 lakh, around 1,09,000, 1,09,000, okay. Now, what do we call this? Since there are more buyers, we call this a positive delta. Positive delta simply means buyers. When there are more sellers, it is called negative delta. Negative delta simply means sellers. Okay, now look at the delta of the first candle. Now the delta of the second candle. See, let's talk about both negative and positive together. Alright, the delta of this candle. The delta of this candle. So what we are seeing is that some candles have a very high delta, and some candles, like this one, just have 4,000. The delta of these candles is very low. So in those candles where there is heavy buying and selling, that's where the big players are present, and that's where most of the buying and selling happens. Wherever there is more buying and selling, that's where the probability lies. That's where we can say that yes, these candles have the potential to clearly indicate the market direction to some extent, and those candles whose value is very low do not have that potential to clarify the market direction in any way. So what we will do here is, we will pick those candles whose delta is heavy and try to read their footprint. We will try to do this here. There is always more buying in the first candle. Alright, more buying or more selling means there is more volume, so you should trade that very carefully. But today, there was nothing like that. The delta was very low, only 12,000. The next candle gave a solid confirmation. What was that solid confirmation? There was a sharp buying seen. Buying above 1 lakh. Look at this. It means there were more than 1 lakh buyers in this candle. What happened in the next candle? Even in this candle, there were more than 1 lakh buyers. Even in this candle, there were more than 1 lakh buyers. Even in this candle, meaning except for the first candle, there were 5 such candles back to back. In those candles, there was heavy buying, continuous heavy buying within 5 seconds. You can see it from here. The cumulative delta went straight from 0 to 500. Okay. Now what shall we do? Let's read each candle. Like in the first candle, buying came in first. Okay, so how will we read the footprint of this candle? Like this is the first candle. What did the delta of the first candle indicate? If the positive delta is stronger, then the positive delta is indeed stronger. That means there are more buyers. Which side is the buyer's side? The right side. On the right side is the buyer's side, and look at the spot where the maximum buying has happened. From 30 to 75. See here, the buying at 75 is clearly visible to us separately. Okay, next candle. There was sharp buying in the next candle as well. Which are the buying zones in this candle? At 79, 38, and 46. In the first candle, this is the spot where the best buying took place. In the second candle, buying happened at 146 and at 79 as well, meaning even in the second candle, this is the area where the maximum buying happened. This zone was held for 10 minutes. Okay, so the buying zones of the second candle were properly held and there was an upside movement. The buying zones of the first candle, the buying zones of the second candle, and the buying zones of the third candle are at 62 and 28, okay. There has also been buying in this candle at 70. Yes, look here, buying at 74, buying at 37, buying at 65, meaning if you look at the first, second, and third candles, this is the place where the most buying has happened. Look here, buying at 75, and right here, buying at 46. In the third, fourth, and fifth candles, there is buying at 62, buying at 74, and buying at 65. We have just seen that there has been back-to-back buying within these 5 candles, and in the first and second candles, this is the place where the maximum buying has happened. This is the place in the third, fourth, and fifth candles where the maximum buying has happened. Look at this. Again, we have marked the buying zones. The buying zones of the first candle worked quite well. there was an upward movement. With the buying in the third, fourth, and fifth candles as well, the price moved up. One pullback came in just the next few candles. Here also, why are we considering the pullback in these candles as a pullback? Because, boss, there is nothing like selling happening anywhere, and even now the delta is coming out quite heavily positive in front of us. Okay, and if the market breaks this zone, which was our resistance, then the market can move up to the next resistance. Okay. Buying zones, buyers came and broke the resistance. In the next two candles, there was a pullback. Why the pullback? Because repeatedly, the price is tapping the strongest buying zones, touching them, and there is no sign of any selling activity. Upside movement. Buying is still continuing even now. See, there is quite a strong buying happening at the 74 level. Look here, from the 73 level, buyers started moving the price. Most of the buying happened here, and then the price moved. Now see, why are we not marking the buying at this 73 level? Because there was even bigger buying happening here. See, at 62, 74, 65, so rather than marking the buying at just 73, it's better to mark those zones where there was the most significant buying. Okay. The price came back to the pullback. Where the second most, the first most significant buying zone is. The second most significant buying zone. It held. There is no selling activity at all. There was some selling activity at 26, but compared to the buying, this activity is very less. Look at this. Continuous buying of 1,10,000 is happening. Continuous buying at 74. The same zone held for two candles. And there was another round of buying. This level also got broken. Okay. Another round of buying came in. This is the biggest buying so far. What is the delta? A positive delta of around 2.5 lakh. Okay. So, as usual, there are more buyers. We went to the buyer's side and marked the spot where the maximum buying happened. Buying at 141,000 and buying at 82,000. The price again got stuck there and gave a rejection. At least it gave a rejection, easily a 1-to-1 move. Again, there was a pullback, but when the pullback came the second time, this zone could not hold the market anymore, and in this zone, there was quite a good downside movement. With a significant amount of selling, with 81,000 worth of selling. Okay, now this buying zone has been broken. So, the better option is that we also delete this buying zone. Whenever any buying or selling zone is properly broken once, then the probability of it working again becomes very low. Okay. From here, there was a rejection in the market. With this rejection, sellers entered. Plus, in this candle, the biggest buying happened at 82K and 141K. Here also, see, there was a buying at 87K, and from that buying, there was a rejection and sellers also came in. So, the probability was that this zone could act as a resistance somewhere because this is where the sellers entered. Okay. The price went back to the pullback. Now, during the pullback, what was a bit interesting was that these were solid pullbacks. As soon as it touched the resistance, a buying attempt was made. Delta of 41. This is from that buying zone. But the very next candle showed that as soon as the buying zone broke on the downside, it means that all the buying of this candle got absorbed here. The price again went to the pullback. This time, no buyer is interested. It held evenly. At least for 15 to 20 minutes, it held. Okay. Another candle appeared in which there was another buying attempt. That means buying attempts were made just above this resistance zone. The first buying attempt, and after that, the buyers left. Another buying attempt happened, And this candle gave the confirmation that yes, even after the second buying attempt inside this candle and the previous one, the price is still not going up after buying. So that means somewhere aggressive buyers are getting absorbed here. This candle made it clear that yes, the buying attempt that happened, even this buying zone has now been broken on the downside. Again, it held at the pullback without any buying interest. Downside movement. Now, what happened this time during the downside movement? Aggressive sellers also came in, and quite strongly. Absorption happened. That was the first instance. The second time and the third time as well, aggressive sellers moved the price downwards. Okay, now this time we also have sellers with us who will move the price to the downside. Again, it was tapped. There was a slight buying seen, but look at this time, without any buying interest, it held here and we saw a downside movement, and right here Nifty gave its closing. So, what confirmation did today's order flow give? We have a very strong confirmation. The zone where buyers came in for the first time acted as a support zone. Where buyers came in for the second time, that also acted as a support, and a solid pullback happened right there as well. Alright, the third time when the buyer came in, there was a rejection, but during the second pullback, it failed to hold. No problem, but here we saw a buying absorption happening. It came to the pullback, there were multiple buying attempts, but this rejection also made it clear that all the buying happening here is being absorbed. Buying absorption took place here. The pullback came, it held well without any proper buying zone, and also gave a significant rejection here. This was today's quick analysis video on Nifty. Now, whatever doubts you all have, please unmute yourselves and ask.